So every now and then you'll be out and about and you'll find things that end up just making your whole day. And that was the case with me a few weeks ago, and I'm finally getting around to using it because life has been so busy. We were at like one of those warehouse stores where they resell things that may have been returned because they were opened, or they're reselling open stuff. And I found this. Ba-ba-ba-da. Boom. Really excited about this because coconut coir does really well for starting your seedlings because it's light. And this particular box was missing a brick. So it should be a total of... Oh, actually, no, it's not missing a brick. I don't know why, but I paid $5 for this big old box. And today we're going to use this to get our flowers started for the 2026 growing season. We're going to do some nasturtiums. And I'm trying to decide whether or not, y'all, I want to direct sow my corn this year or if I want to start it. I've had mixed results both ways, and so I'm a little torn. But anyway, that's that. That was my first find, and we're going to be using that shortly. But I want to show you this other find first. We all in the gardening community, we've come to know that fish emulsion is really, really good for the garden. And the biggest complaint that we all have is that it stinks so bad. I have to agree. It doesn't smell great. Now, there are a lot of things on the farm, like chicken poo, that does stink worse than the fish emulsion. Having said that, it does smell pretty bad. This is something, as I was doing my shopping online for groceries, this popped up because I had searched lawn and garden. No, I had searched organic fertilizer because I wanted to see what was in stock. And this was mid-February that I did this. And this popped up, guys. And wait, this one is it says tomato and vegetable. And it literally says low odor because they know. It's granular. I can feel it in the bag. There's that one. This one is a 366, right? But they also have this one, which is more of an all-purpose. It's a 464. Now, I'm not exactly sure how they're getting these numbers because normally fish emulsion, which is what I would, when I see Alaska, that's what I'm thinking. It said it's made with it. It's made with fish emulsion, but obviously they're adding something else to it. It is an organic ingredient. Fish emulsion is normally around a 511. So in order for this to be a 464, there's got to be a little something extra in it. Anyway, I got one of each because I wanted to try them out. They were about $12 a bag. These bags are about 4 pounds each, or not about, but they are, right? Yeah, 4 pounds each. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, since we're going to be doing flowers and tomatoes are flowering plants, I'm going to use a little bit of this in our mixture for our cocoa coir. Now, in front of me, I do have a bin of rainwater that's collected over, we've had a couple of days of rain consecutively, and I didn't want to just pour it out. So we're going to use it to rehydrate our cocoa coir, or to hydrate our cocoa coir. And then I'm going to add, ooh, ladybug. Ladybug. Look at the ladybug. I'm going to use, okay, starting over because I got distracted. It was like squirrel all over again. I'm going to use the cocoa coir bricks. I'm going to put it in the water, and I'm going to add in some of this one. How much? I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and do that so that we can get our seeds planted. Okay. I feel like I want to put the fertilizer in first. And I'll show you what it looks like. I'm sure it's just going to look... Oh. I'm sorry. Didn't even get that out of my mouth. I would have been wrong. It looks like sand. Look at that. I'm already liking this just based off of the fact that because it is so small, I know that it'll be a lot easier to absorb, reabsorb into the soil. Like if you were to sprinkle it on your plants and just work it into the soil, it's not going to take as much to make it available to those plants. All right, let's get our brick open here. Hopefully this is enough water and I don't have to add any thing to it. I'm just going to stir that in, the fish fertilizer. All right, I'm just going to drop that in. Ew. I don't smell anything, so that's cool. All right, so the directions say that you can sprinkle this product evenly over the soil for step 1. Step 2, mix it into the soil and around plants. And step 3, always water the plants and soil well after adding the fertilizer. Sprinkle 1 to 2 cups over the planting area, then mix it into the soil 3 to 6 inches deep, along with any compost or soil additives. Covers 10 square feet. So I guess 1 to 2 cups covers 10 square feet. For one plant, mix 2 tablespoons into the soil at the bottom of the hole before planting. After planting, sprinkle 1 to 2 tablespoons on top of the soil around the plant. And it has further instructions for established plants as well. Potash, calcium, sulfur, phosphate, nitrogen. Derived from, here we go, fish bone meal, gypsum, alfalfa meal, potassium sulfate, and bone meal. Now, I have in the past, and if for some reason some of our rabbit alfalfa pellets get wet or something, I still will use them in the garden. Alfalfa is really good for the garden. And you can buy it in pellets or cubes. They sell it like in cubes for horses, and we buy it for our rabbits when they're lactating and nurse. Well, that's the same thing. We buy it for our lactating rabbits and for the babies after they are born and they start to eat. They eat that as well. And so sometimes we have it on hand on the farm and sometimes we don't. Right now we do. And I will show you a really cute picture right now, right here, of our kits. Cher had 3. She is such a good mama, y'all. And when they say proven dough, girl is proven. Like, don't question her skills. Don't question that she did wait to the last minute, like literally the last minute. Like I don't know what happened, but usually she'll deliver. They have a range of like between 30 to 32 days. She'll deliver usually 30 to 31. She was at 32 this time, and it's like it snuck up on her. Like she was like, oh snap, I'm about to have these babies. And she was pulling fur and she was hustling, trying to get her little nest together. She was so tired. She was just sitting there in the coop. And I'll put a picture here. She was sitting there in her little cage with her hay in her mouth like, oh, I'm tired. Somebody help me out. Like, girl, I know the feeling. I know the feeling all too well. Stuff is taking forever to, you know what? probably because it's cool. So while that's continuing, I'm gonna move into the shade, and we'll talk a little bit about the plants that we're gonna be getting planted today. So what we're gonna be potentially planting today, the corn, I'm still trying to decide if I'm gonna direct sow it or if I'm going to start it in these cell trays. But this is the variety that we have. It's the Natural Sweet XR F1 sweet corn. I have an area where I can direct sow it, or just it's going to go in that same area no matter whether I direct sow it or start it. But I have an area where I can do like 3 different blocks, maybe like 2 weeks apart will be good. And I'm just on the fence about how to do it, like whether to start it in the cell trays and transplant it. I've had mediocre success both ways with germination. Corn can be funny like that. But definitely starting in the cell trays is going to be this beautiful variety of Nostrum Orchid Flame, and also the Alaska Red Shades. Both of these are just absolutely beautiful. If you've never tried Nostrum leaves, you should. They are kind of peppery, and some people I've heard them compared to mustards or arugula. To me, it's a little bit more like arugula, but more peppery. Not like in a burning way, but in like the flavor is, I can't describe it. You just gotta taste it. Let me just say how it's been hours and this stuff still is not, it's not, still not fully rehydrated. So we went on to other tasks. Let me show you what it's looking like now. This is what we're looking like. It's still not. Look at that. But almost don't want to. I don't know how long it's been sitting up or anything like that. So I don't want to be too judgmental about it. But it's clearly just not wanting to absorb the water. Then I'm wondering if maybe I did it with that I make it to where it was harder to absorb the water by adding that fertilizer ahead of time. For that, still completely dry there. It's wild. So we're gonna have to come back to this in the morning. I'm gonna let it sit overnight and see what happens. Even Stanley, like, girl, I don't know what you done purchased. I'm sorry, Stanley. But I'm going to show you what we did in the interim. Feels weird. And maybe I'm probably going to need another brick in there now I'm looking at it. Said I was going to walk away, but I haven't. No, I don't think I need another brick. I think once it fully hydrates or rehydrates and it absorbs all of this, I think it's going to be good. But tomorrow's a farm day, so we'll see. Let me show you what we did. Starts, elderberry starts, to go ahead and get them out of the pots and the pots that they came in and into their temporarily permanent home. I'm afraid that if I put these in the ground, that they're gonna get cut, chopped up, weeded, something, as we are doing the yards or whatever. Sometimes that kind of thing can happen. So I wanted to put them in a pot until they got, maybe if they can get through the winter, through the summer, then in the fall, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But now they're in the pot, and I think I'm gonna go and get some of those nasturtiums and just direct seed them on the edges of these pots. So that'll be cute as they grow and kind of fall out of the pot, although direct sun might not be good for them. We'll see. We're gonna put something else in there. That's one of them, and the other one is here. So those pots have sticks and some composted rabbit manure and leaves, and then I just topped it off with the Whitney Farms potting soil that we will often use for up potting and sometimes even seed starting. So we'll just come back in the morning or tomorrow at some point, and we'll look and see what progress we've made with that cocoa coir. We'll see where we are with that, and we'll continue our process. But there's never a shortage to things to do around here. So while, we can't just sit and wait for the pot to boil, so to speak, we have to keep it moving. So now it's time to do the final check on the chicks for the day, and then it's inside we go to work on indoor chores like getting dinner together and all those loads of laundry that I washed and dried and I never folded. See you tomorrow. All right, so it's the next day, and it's evening the next day. So I really don't know. I don't know exactly how long this really took to get to this point, but let me put my gloves on, and what we're going to do is we're just going to see where we are and if we can go ahead and start doing our planting now. Started some new medicine last night, changing up some of my blood pressure medicines, and boy, when I tell you, I felt like crap on a stick this morning. I don't know what crap on a stick feels like. I just know people say that. So, yeah. Okay. So we did not need to add any more of the cocoa coir. This is pretty moist. Let me see if I can. It's still like can be wrung out. So I think this is good, and I can actually see the the fertilizer, and I can also see it in the mixture. So I know that my plants will be fed, will be nourished off of that. And I think that fish fertilizer said up to 4 months. Oh, there's a good chunk of it there that didn't. Look at that. It's at the bottom. It settled. So we really got to stir this in good. Okay. Yeah. But I love how light cocoa coir is. It really does allow for your seeds to have a good start in the growing process. So what I'll do is I'll just boom, like that. Then I always like to take another cup or tray, whatever the size of whatever I'm doing, and just push down. And this will make sure that it's pretty full. I don't have any air gaps in there. We already talked about that. All right, I'm going to work on getting the rest of these done, and I'll be back. Okay, we have completed filling our trays. That brick went a long way, y'all. Let me show you. So I was able to fill all of these, and so this ends up being 1272 cells here, and then 36 here. So that's a good bit. It's a good bit for that one little brick. So I'm really thrilled with that. So one of the things that people that prefer not to use peat moss or cocoa coir for seed starting, oftentimes I find, as I listen to them talk, their biggest concern is nutrients, because you don't get a whole lot in these in cocoa coir or in peat. So I get that. I mitigate that in this particular instance because I am doing planting that I know is going to require some food. I am mitigating that by adding that fertilizer. And you can do that too. If you like the lightness that cocoa coir and peat moss have, but you are just a little concerned about nutritional value for your seedlings, food for them, then you can just go ahead and mix in your feed ahead of time, like we did, or you can just be mindful and fertilize those plants after they get their first true leaves. Okay. All right. So I did say that we were going to be doing some planting. This video has gone for longer than I anticipated as far as days. It's supposed to be done yesterday. What I'm going to do is just going to go ahead and do this nostranum here. And if I have enough, I'm going to do the orchid flame in the green cells, and in the black I will do the Alaska red shades. Now all of these are the Bootstrap Farmer air prune trays, cells. They all are. They're just different colors. So I can't remember how well these germinated last time. Seeds are kind of big. I'm gonna do one per. I've only got like that few left of that. I'm gonna just go back and throw some extras in. Okay, that takes care of the red flame. Another reason why I am excited about having nostranums, although I wish I would have planted them earlier, is that they are really good for using as a trap crop. Aphids like them. I learned that the hard way. I planted them to just admire and to eat, just to find aphids all over them. And with them being such small leaves, considering like compared to like a collard that aphids may get on, it's a lot. You really can't do anything with the leaves at that point. Kind of just gotta let it go. So that's what I did. I had to let it go. But things like any of your brassicas that you may get an issue with aphids on, will really enjoy having some nostranums planted nearby, because the nostranums will more than likely attract more of the aphids than those brassicas will. Now, I haven't seen this personally yet, but I've also heard that they help with all the other pests that we suffer from here. White flies, the flea beetles. Oh my gosh, the flea beetles. But see, the thing about the flea beetles, by the time they're out generally, nasturtiums are done. Like, they don't like it hot. So when the flea beetles come here, or what I found is by that point, the nasturtiums are like, I've done my duty for the year. That is it. And there's a lot of other plants that you can include in your gardening that will help with pests, that will eliminate the need for all these pesticides that are being marketed so heavily this time of year. I'm not saying that we don't use them, or obviously we don't use the non-organic varieties, but even with the organic ones, like if I can plant a flower and that's going to do the job for me, then I'd much rather do that than have to come back with the chemicals, you know? And that is it. That is all we're going to be doing today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in to our channel. Did you learn something? I hope you did. Did you have fun? I hope you did. Were you entertained? I know you were, because it's funny just laughing at me and watching me as my fursuit daughter walks just beside the frame. We'll catch you in the next video. And remember, grow big from home.